gets it. Miami goes home with a miracle win.
Welcome to Watch Mojo. And today we're counting down our picks for the most exciting and memorable Turkey Day NFL games.
Every man has to have his day, and Clint Longley had his on Thanksgiving.
Number 10, the Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Baltimore Ravens, 2013. You'll naturally be seeing a lot of Lions and Cowboys games on this list, but the addition of the third Thanksgiving game has given modern rivalries like the one between the Steelers and the Ravens the chance to feast.
Sam Cook to put it down, and Tucker's boot is through.
This was a weird one, as it saw Justin Tucker hit a whopping 5 field goals. But if there's one thing the game is remembered for, it's Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin ostensibly interfering with Jacoby Jones' kickoff return.
Jacoby Jones gets by Sweezum and taken down at the 27-yard line. Only Cortez Allen stood between Jones and the goal line.
It's unclear if Jones would have scored if not for Tomlin. And while no penalty was called, Tomlin was fined $100,000.
But you can see he kind of did force Jacoby Jones back into the field, a little mission accomplished almost. And he's snickering. I mean, you know, my man, he's a player now.
The Ravens ultimately wouldn't have much to gripe about, though, as they'd win when the Steelers' comeback fell short after an unsuccessful game-tying 2-point conversion.
Wallace with the snap. The first one was good. This one is good. And the pass is pulled in. But what are they going to say? No! Hits the ground. Emmanuel Sanders couldn't hold on.
Number 9. Denver Broncos versus Dallas Cowboys, 2005. Jake Plummer and Drew Bledsoe are two quarterbacks who never quite met expectations, and neither were particularly noteworthy in this game at the tail end of their careers. But that didn't mean this game wasn't something to write home about.
Again, working the short passes, there's Bailey. Bailey with no one near him. Touchdown, Denver.
It was very much a back-and-forth affair, with the Broncos and Cowboys trading touchdowns right up to the end of regulation.
Pass play all the way to the end zone, touchdown. It's Jason Witten.
Champ Bailey opened the scoring with a 65-yard pick six, and the Cowboys continually tied the game before getting the chance to take the lead with under 8 minutes left.
The kick, no good. No good from actually 34 yards. We remained heartbreaker for the Cowboy contingency.
Billy Cundiff missed the potential game-winning field goal, and just the 4th ever Thanksgiving game to go to OT ended with a Denver field goal.
Kick by Elam. It is good. Denver wins it.
Number 8, the Green Bay Packers versus the Detroit Lions, 1986. Stuffing ourselves on Thanksgiving often inspires little more than lethargy. So to see two teams work to put up a combined 84 points definitely has us feeling a little inadequate. Indeed, the Packers narrowly edged out their then NFC Central rival Lions 44-40, and a lot of that had to do with wide receiver Walter Stanley.
Right, scrambles out of the pocket for Stanley, touchdown, Packers.
Stanley's career was hardly decorated, but he showed up on Thanksgiving Day 1986 with 124 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns on just 4 catches.
Wide open is Stanley, touchdown.
It still wasn't enough to put Green Bay over the top, that is until he tacked on an 83-yard punt return for a touchdown in the final minute.
Stanley at his own 20, he's had a big day. Reverses his field, gets the block, and he's got some room. One man left, it's Arnold. He's gone. He's gone.
Imagine if fantasy football was widespread back then. Stanley would have had your team feasting on points. Number 7, the New England Patriots versus the New York Jets, 2012.
Brady, great protection, slings it to the outside, and there's Welker getting open for the touchdown.
Unlike the other entries on this list, this game wasn't even close. The Patriots absolutely obliterated the Jets by a final score of 49-19, scoring a whopping 5 touchdowns in the second quarter alone.
They pass to the left side, and that's Vereen, and Vereen gets free down the sideline. And Vereen is inside the 30, and nobody's going to get him. Touchdown New England.
So did the Patriots simply have the Jets' number? Well, yes, as they often did back then. But we imagine it was pretty difficult to rebound after the infamous butt fumble.
Sanchez gets hit, the ball is loose, and it's alive. And then going into the end zone is Steve Gregory, who's had an interception, 2 fumble recoveries, and a touchdown.
Gosh.
Yes, the play that will live on in blooper reels for decades occurred on Thanksgiving, when Jets quarterback Mark Sanchez ran into the backside of his own lineman Brandon Moore with seemingly no provocation. And even worse, defensive player Steve Gregory immediately picked up the ball and ran it back for a score. Sometimes you just gotta love a rout.
Knight will lose the ball again. It goes right into Edelman's hands, and Edelman goes in for a touchdown. And the Jets have turned the ball over 4 times.
Number 6, the New Orleans Saints versus the Dallas Cowboys, 2010. Everyone loves a comeback, even when the point swing doesn't always stick.
This one bends its way in.
After a field goal and a pair of Chris Ivory touchdowns, the Cowboys found themselves trailing 17-0 after the first quarter. They were able to close the gap somewhat before halftime, down by 2 touchdowns, before quarters 3 and 4 saw them come all the way back to take the lead.
Choice to the goal line. Touchdown.
Dallas led by 4 with less than 6 minutes left to play, but in a close contest, it's often the team that scores last that wins. As the Cowboys marched back to regain the lead after the 2-minute warning,
The Super Bowl champion Saints. Breeze. End zone. More. Touchdown. And New Orleans is back on top.
the Cowboys' final drive was a valiant effort, but David Bueller's potential game-tying field goal from 59 yards out went just wide.
Hayden tried to call a timeout, didn't get it. Bueller misses.
Number 5, the Chicago Bears versus the Detroit Lions, 1980. Since overtime wasn't instituted in the regular season until 1974, we didn't see a Thanksgiving game go into OT until 1980. But what a finish it was.
All he needs is a little bit. He's got more than a little bit. Sims, touchdown.
The Bears trailed the Lions 17-3 after 3 quarters, but turned up the juice in the 4th.
Peyton to the middle. Peyton bouncing and squirming down to the 20. Ball comes flying out, but that doesn't matter. Shot. Evans. Going to go for the bunch. May have the bunch.
Bob Fisher caught a 20-yard touchdown to bring Chicago within a score before Vince Evans defined better late than never by punching in the game-tying TD as time expired.
Evans will go and will score. 17-16. Get a later flight.
At that point, Lions kicker Eddie Murray probably wanted a couple missed field goals back, but the Bears wouldn't let them sit in their misery for long.
Williams breaks out of the pack. Dave Williams to the 30. Touchdown, Chicago. They win it on the kickoff after overtime.
Dave Williams returned the overtime kickoff for 94 yards, as the 13-second fifth quarter would be the league's shortest for some time. Number 4, the Houston Texans versus the Detroit Lions, 2012.
Here they go with Forsett. He didn't think he was down, and he's still going, and the officials are acting like it's still a live play. Forsett taking it all the way, and still no signal that he was down.
In the third quarter of this one, Texans running back Justin Forsett ran for an 81-yard touchdown, but it was clear he was down just 7 yards in. The scoring play would have thus automatically been reviewed and overturned, but Lions head coach Jim Schwartz threw the challenge flag. Since you're not supposed to challenge a scoring play, the Lions were penalized for unsportsmanlike conduct. Not only that, but the rule back then meant that the review was canceled.
So had he never thrown the flag, the touchdown would have been automatically reviewed.
Yes.
And the play would have been, again, the touchdown would have been taken away, and the tackle would have been back there after a short gain of 4 or 5.
So the touchdown stood, eventually leading to an overtime that was even crazier.
And he got kicked. Hits the upright and is no good! No good!
In the extra quarter, both teams turned the ball over and missed field goals before the Texans finally scored. And of course, the rule regarding challenges was ultimately amended.
This time, look out. It is good and just barely, but it's a winner for Houston.
Number 3, Washington versus the Dallas Cowboys, 1974. The NFL has a sordid history with bounties, wherein certain players are deliberately targeted with cash prizes for dealing injuries. But thankfully, karma reared its ugly head between these rivals in 1974.
Darren Talbot actually came out and said they were going to knock Roger out, and then they went ahead and did knock him out.
Dallas quarterback Roger Staubach already wasn't having a great game when Washington ultimately succeeded in sidelining him, with the latter team already up 16-3 in the third quarter.
And here he comes, the Mad Bomber, Clint Longley.
Yeah, who the hell is Clint Longley?
Clint Longley took over, a rookie from Abilene Christian with no previous professional experience.
Having to bring out your second string never bodes confidence, but rookie Clint Longley played the game of his uneventful career. He led the Cowboys to 3 touchdown drives, including hitting a 50-yard bomb with just 28 seconds left.
As for Clint Longley, even if he never completes another pass, they'll always remember the one he threw on Thanksgiving Day, 1974.
Washington head coach George Allen later said it was probably the toughest loss they'd ever had, but were not inclined to feel bad for his team. Number 2. Pittsburgh Steelers versus Detroit Lions, 1998. The game itself was fairly close, with the Lions erasing a 10-point deficit and the teams going into overtime tied at 16. And that's when the controversy started. The Steelers' Jerome Bettis was assigned to call the coin toss that would decide the overtime possession.
Call it plays in the air. Heads is the call. He said heads, it is a tails.
It seems like he might have started saying heads, but definitely finished with tails. It was tails, but referee Phil Luckett heard heads and thus awarded the Lions the ball.
Detroit has won the toss. We'll receive.
Jerome Bettis said tails. Oh my!
Well, we'll find out. Now we're going to start getting all the officials out there for the coin toss to see what's going on.
This was back when you could win in overtime on a first possession field goal, which is exactly what the Lions did.
The Lions win it 19-16.
This was the first of 5 losses to end the Steelers' playoff-less season. Meanwhile, players have since been required to call the toss beforehand rather than while the coin's in the air.
It's now what did I say? I said
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. The Miami Dolphins versus the Dallas Cowboys, 1993. You'd think that a snowy Thanksgiving game in Texas couldn't get any more memorable, but think again. The Dolphins were down by 1 when they attempted what would have been a game-winning field goal with seconds left, but it was blocked by Jimmy Jones.
Doug Peterson to hold. Blocked. The Cowboys will win.
While his teammates celebrated, knowing the Dolphins couldn't regain possession without Cowboy help, Leon Lett did the unthinkable.
It's Leon Lett. No! Oh, Lett, who is haunted by a Super Bowl misplay, and the ball goes into the end zone. They say it was touched at the 1-yard line.
In attempting to grab the ball, Lett slipped on the turf and accidentally kicked it forward, making it live once more. The Dolphins recovered the ball on the goal line, setting up what was now a sure thing game winner.
The Dolphins pull it out. 16-14. Game over.
Thankfully for the Cowboys, they put the gaff in the rear view, going undefeated from there to win a Super Bowl. What's your favorite Thanksgiving memory? Gobble gobble in the comments.
The Lions, we think, have won this coin toss and will receive. Happy Thanksgiving.
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.